talking to my daughter yesterday because her poor dog died and she was so heartbroken.
Oh, I know.
It's the worst. We've all been through it.
Yes.
Losing a pet is the worst.
It's awful.
It's really awful. And we were talking about childhood trauma and, you know, not like, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about. Basically, we were talking about how
sadness,
living in loud environments, like where people yell a lot, or they're not necessarily like violent or whatever, but there's just a lot of yelling. And
it's a very, that is a very, well, I've had this discussion.
A lot of arguing. Yeah. And so
therapist told me I was a loud person.
Right.
So I had to learn to not be.
We've talked about that, yes, on the show. And so her and I were talking about that, and I have to acknowledge her. I'm like, when I was raising you, things were a lot different. And there was a lot of that growing up.
Loud. Yes.
Which I feel like is one of the reasons why she couldn't wait to get out on her own.
To be quiet.
And because my daughter's a very quiet person.
She's like my son.
Yes. Very quiet.
Very much
she doesn't like, she doesn't like aggressive or fighting or any of that. So, and I acknowledge that. And I'm like, you know, when I was younger, there was a lot of that. I've grown a lot, and I'm so sorry that I had to raise you when I was 18.
Yes. It makes
and that I made so many terrible mistakes. But I said, you know, and it never fails. We were on the phone for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
But in this very moment, Jerry decides to walk through the room, and I'm like, but you know, now that Jerry's old, we don't fight like that anymore. And he stopped and he looked at me and he's like, thanks a lot. Like, he was genuinely hurt. And I'm like, why did you have to come in the room right at that minute? Like, that was literally the only conversation that we had about talking about anything that had to do with him.
You know what? Speaking of, I have been staring at Daryl's face for like a week.
Oh God, don't do it.
And I was looking at him going, oh my God, you know, I mean, his father's a very handsome man.
Yes, he is.
And so I know that Daryl is
going
to
look a lot alike.
Continue aging gracefully. But I was like, I have done some damage to you. You look tired. And
time is exhausting.
Time and Jamie has made you a weary man. He looks tired. And I was like, I know I did this to you. And like, I was watching him sleep this morning, like, I'm so sorry. I know it's been hard.
I mean, I came out the other day, Jerry's in the living room. He's tidying up the couch pillows and opening the blinds and stuff like that. I stopped and I looked and he looks at me and he's like, what? I go, why do you look so rough this morning? He immediately starts like patting his hair. He's I don't know. He's like, I do feel like I am though. I'm like, but this
we all have rough days.
Yeah. I'm like, God, why are you such an awful person? If he said that to me, I would be like, what?
Can you imagine?
I would be like, what did you say?
I can't imagine if Daryl said, I was watching you the other day.
I was just looking at your face and I was like,
God damn.
Exactly. Can you imagine? I mean, when he passed through the room and I was like, well, now that Jerry's old, we don't fight like that anymore. And we know what Lauren's response, she started laughing so hard, like hard. Like, it wasn't just like a giggle. She's like, ha, ha, ha. She's like, I know.
I can't imagine if Daryl's like, if I had walked in and he's like, well, now that Jamie's old, we don't fight like that anymore. I'd be like, what?
Right. And I'm sure he was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? And I'm like, oh my God, you like came in right at the wrong moment.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I always think about, you know, I do think about that where I go, if roles were reversed, and my look and things that I said to him were put on me,
right?
Well, we wouldn't be together for starters,
right?
Because I'd be like, you really just don't like me very much, do you?
I know.
You know? But the thing is that
it's not reflective of how I feel about him. And I think he knows that, and that's why he just like the initial sting might be like, oh God, she just okay, But then he moves on because he's like, I know she doesn't. It wasn't necessarily an insult. It was an insult, but I wasn't saying it to be insulting.
No, you were just saying, you know, time has passed and we're not as aggressive as we used to be.
Yeah.
Age tends to soften.
Both people. Yeah. I used to have the shortest views.
I do think about that. But here's the other thing, though. This is why Daryl doesn't say anything. First of all, he thinks I'm pretty, which is nice.
Yes.
And he
100%.
likes physically, mentally, everything. He's a very complimentary person when it comes to me. However, I am so mean to myself. I say things and he's just like, you really shouldn't say things like that. And I'm like, why? And I go, it's true. He's like, it isn't true. You know, he said, because I'm like, you are ridiculous. You're not being even keeled.
Your rose colored glasses.
Yeah.
You can't see me the way I really am.
No.
Couldn't possibly.
No.
But that's not true.
Anyway.
He does.
So
we don't see each other. We don't see ourselves the way other people see us.
I guess not.
No, that's true. I've had people tell me that.
Yeah, I think I've had people tell me that too. I don't know. But I'm so mean. I'm so hard on myself that he's like, first of all, there's nothing that one person on this planet outside of maybe you could say to me that could hurt my feelings.
That's true.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm way meaner to myself than anybody else. Number one.
Me
Number
too.
two, you're going to have to come at me pretty fucking hard to penetrate
you would
my stone soul.
And you would have to know me really, really well
exactly.
in order for you to be able to say something that would hurt me.
When I see these women on TikTok or any other social media and they go, you know, your comments, they really hurt me. And I'm like, I would be like, fuck your mother. You think is this the best you've got, idiot? Really? Please.
Comments are very entertaining.
Tell you what, I'll give you my parents for 1 day, 1 hour. I'll give you my parents for 1 hour. And if they can't roast you better than anyone on the planet, trust when I say I can take it.
It's funny because like as much as it's annoying, it's also very enlightening to read comments because it just goes to show you there are some people in this planet that I'm like, how do you exist?
They're so mean.
It's not even mean. It's like, and then I like look at myself. I'm like, am I the mean one? Okay, so like if you're